I think a lot can be gained from the spring game in regards to, are the quarterbacks throwing on time? Are they accurate? Look at the velocity, a number of things there. As you pointed out, the mobility and elusiveness of the quarterbacks really can't be judged and evaluated. When you get a sack on a touch of one hand, that's a bit ridiculous. The wide receiver versus defensive back play, certainly they're playing out on an island that can be evaluated. But when you talk about line play, especially when you don't know which units are playing with whom, when you're splitting up, let's say, what is potentially going to be the starting offensive line, and they're not playing together, especially against possibly the best defensive front in the country, then that's a bit of a difficult judgment. But based on what you could assess, determined by the personnel splits, how did the offensive line look?
Yeah, so the white team, which had Tyson Pumachan and had some of the better running backs, also had some of the most of what we think is going to be the starting offensive line. So I tended to focus on that, on their offensive line, and in particular, Hunter Rayburn, who started at center and has been getting rave reviews from Coach Sweeney all spring. I wanted to see what that was all about because he hadn't really played much for Clemson in any meaningful snaps before. And then Will Putnam, who's returning. He was a big prospect, and I'm optimistic that he's going to take a big step. So that's the center and the right guard. I kept my eyes on them. And I thought they looked really solid. So I looked really encouraged. There was a lot of run plays that got blown up, but some of them were, the tight end got busted or a left tackle that's not going to start kind of thing. But I really focused on those two, and I thought they looked good. They weren't like crushing people, but I was encouraged. I thought they held up very well. I noted at least one penalty on Hunter Rayburn, but overall I thought just the fact that they held up, they got a push, they didn't get beat too often. I was encouraged, and I think the offensive line is the area where they've got to really improve if they're going to compete for championship in the playoff. They can get through the ACC with it just as it was last year, obviously. But if they're going to do anything, if they're going to beat Ohio State, Alabama, those teams, they've got to get better. So I think they have an opportunity to get better on the offensive line and to get so much better that it could more than make up for losing Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence. So a lot of growth that is needed, and I think could happen. Still optimistic.